Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. It is Bruce Jordan, the Michael Jordan of hotels. And today I got my man Hans with me. We're going to be talking about a creative exchange, events, catering, and what we need to do. The future, the future of entertainment. What's going on, Hans? How you been?
Great, thanks for having me.
Listen, it's been a long road, and just tell. First thing I always ask everybody is, how did you get started, and what's your background?
It got started a long time ago.
This is about 5 years.
Yeah, yes, I wish. On the culinary side, so started off as a apprenticeship program as chef, and then kind of worked through food and beverage, and then into the rooms area, and then general management.
Nice, nice. What was like one of your first properties that you mastered F&B in?
I think one of the places that really sticks out in my mind was the Castle Harbor Hotel we had in Bermuda in the 90s. That was a great place, a great setting. It was a castle, kind of built as a castle, but it was for the cruise ships originally to step over, and people would get off and spend some time there before going either back to the UK or going to the States. And so it was a great setting with lots of food and beverage outlets and outdoor catering, and yeah, and a great setting.
Amazing, amazing. So a lot of times people have problems with events. You have like one or two local people. If they can't show up, you're getting stuck. And it's really bad when it's someone that you recommend, because when it's someone that you recommend and they can't make it, at least this was the issues that I had. Your property looks really really bad. So tell us, like, what are some of the solutions, or struggles that you went through in that department, and what are some of the solutions that you see happening right now?
Well, I think part of on the events, as you spoke about it, that if you have people that are coming in as a third party, is to have the right connection with them, the right understanding with it, that they view you as part of them and you view them as part of your team. And so I think the solution, I don't think there's just one, but one of the things we found is to really make sure that you select them just as carefully as you would select your associates or your team members, to really make sure that it's the right fit, and they have the same philosophy and they have the same commitment as you have in the resort or the hotel or catering venue where you are. So that kind of jives with it is. And I think if you find that, then you find that a lot of the issues that come from people maybe not showing up or not delivering what you thought you had contracted certainly go away, or certainly are at the smaller percentages.
Nice, nice. Now tell me about some of the issues that you had in the past when it came to like booking people for entertainment and booking people for weddings and bar mitzvahs and of course everyone does the sweet 16s and the quinceañeras. What are some of the issues that you had in the past?
Well, one of the things is when you have to find somebody, right? So you look in, where do you find them? So you have to go out, go to the bars, go to the clubs, go where some other venue is. But obviously, you don't want to be a wedding crasher to see a band play at another wedding, or just, invite yourself into a Sweet 16's birthday party. So you're going to have to kind of, look, where they are, or do you get a tape, and then depending on the quality of the tape and the way the music was recorded and people yelling in the background. So, a lot of times it's difficult to do. Plus, if you were looking for something for your nightclub, or, some more of a entertainment venue, is a lot of those events are late night. So then you either had to get someone of your staff or somebody else to go out late night and find the plays and go in those spots. So that was always one of those issues that made it more complicated. And I think a lot of times, outlets, restaurants or bars maybe kind of shied away from it because it involved a lot of work and then even when you pick them out, then you make sure they showed up, and then you need to make sure they come that day, and then you need to make all the paperwork and the tax papers you need, and it's a lot of work involved with it.
Yeah.
And again, if you're not going to be there that day, then you have to transfer it to somebody else again and make sure they show up. And if they don't show up, then you have this issue, well, when are they coming, and so forth. So there's a lot of things involvement that can be managed and can be done, but there's an easier way. And so that's kind of where we are heading.
Nice, nice. Tell me about one of the the worst experience that you had in one of like your old properties, your old hotels, where you booked entertainment and they didn't show up and it wasn't a good look for the property? Like what happened in that
Uh,
experience?
yeah, one place is working in New Orleans. Obviously, we had a lot of live entertainment. Just because of the jazz and the music that there's in the city is, and so you want to have an offerings for your customers so that people don't always have to go out. And so we had live bands 6 days a week.
Nice.
And so yeah, you will try to find somebody, go to another venue, go to another hotel, another club to look them up. And so when we had finally selected someone, and as we promoted it and at a big convention, they were looking forward to some great music and jazz, and well, they didn't show. So after calling around, whatever it is, a long time, they said, oh yeah, we're on the way, and we're going to be there, and we kind of tried to keep people going on and put the DJ on. An hour later, I was like, where are we? Oh yeah, we're close by, and they never showed up. So it was one of those events, when the client then comes back to you and said, hey, you had committed to something that my customers were looking forward to enjoy this day and have a great convention is. And so yeah, so this is one of those times where you had to compensate the customer for it, and certainly more than what the band would have cost.
Yeah, that's the problem and the issue that I always had is that when somebody else messes up, it falls back on you and end up costing you more than what it actually costs to even hire, 3-4 times more than what it costs to hire the van. I remember one time it actually happened with a van and bus rental that we hired this shuttle company to do the shuttling to a wedding, and they were like 3, 4, 5 hours late. They were calling us, cursing us out. We had nothing to do with it. It was a third party, and we end up having to have to refund so much money. And then the shuttle company didn't want to even give us our money back. Like, hey, we were there. It was just late. We can't do nothing for you. So after that, I said I gotta find a better way. And one of the things that I did is I said, you know what, I can recommend a company to you, but we're not responsible. Like, we don't want to be responsible for that ever again, because we don't want to be accountable for what happens to someone if something goes wrong. The other side is finances. Okay, yeah, I remember I had hired somebody, and I was supposed to pay them half when they got there, and the other half when the set was over, to make sure they do the full set. And the dude wanted me to cash app him. I'm like, well, this is a luxury hotel. We don't have cash app, my man. Like, and he was ready. He was like, well, then I'm not coming if you can't cash app me the money you owe me. I'm like, well, I have your check right here, but I don't have cash app. I'm like, this isn't Bad Boy Records. Like,
Yeah.
So like, what are some of the situations that you ran into when it came to like payment?
Well, I think the part that has been, the issue is getting, the people to fill out, the form you need for 1099s. Is so if I have you for the first time coming and you're supposed to be here on Saturday, I really need the form way before that. But the reality is that, people have usually other jobs in the daytime, and so, it's going to be, I'll bring it by the next week, or I mail it and it doesn't come, and then the day up comes, and they are scheduled to perform, and then what do you do? So then you're gonna have to scrabble around, have the paperwork there, but if it's a day that you're not there, you need to have somebody else follow up with that, but they have other things going on, and so a lot of times it either falls through the traps, or you just have to go back then and follow up with it, make sure. Then the payment issue comes, you have the commitment to pay them, and so it's just a lot of layers in there, and a lot of things can go wrong. And then again, it becomes a lot of extra work afterwards to get the paperwork in and make sure accounting is okay with what you paid out and releasing the payment, and yeah, so it's just more complex than it needs to be.
Okay. Well, listen, tell us about Creative Exchange and what it brings to the table, and the problems that it's going to solve for us in the hotel industry.
So creative exchange, I guess if you want to describe it in a short version, and then go a little more deeper in it, but it's really kind of the Amazon of book and entertainment. Is you have the vendors is there, in which cases are the musicians that can go to the site, register on the site, and set themselves up with their music, with their genre, and there's no charge to it, right? So once you do that, you're visible to everybody that uses the site.
Nice.
And the nice feature is that obviously there's a standard format, you submit your music, and so that from the customer side, all the formats look the same, and it's the standard with it. But it's great for the musicians too, because that if you are traveling, you can change your location. So if you're normally in Orlando, but the next month you're gonna be in the Carolinas, you change your location. And so if anybody in the Carolinas now looking for a musician to play your type of music, you would show up on the site. So
Nice.
as you move around, so you maybe have a weekend gig in Chicago, whatever, but you can add that and change your location. And so anybody looking for the time period that you are in Chicago will also see you for Chicago. So it moves with you. So it's not stationary, but it's flexible and moves with it. So for the entertainers, it's great. You have visibility. You're out there. It doesn't cost you anything to be on the site and get exposure. And then from the customer side, and that goes back to the two questions you had, is one, you don't have to leave your desk. You're welcome to walk around and do it, but you don't need to do for this one is. Once you log in and you set yourself up as whether it's a hotel or a restaurant or a resort or other venue, is you set yourself up, and then you can add, if you have a number of venues, let's say you have a restaurant, you have a bar, you have a pool area, whatever it is, you can set all those areas up. And then when you have the need, you go in to that outlet where you wanted to have entertainment, and then you indicate, what day are you looking for, what type of music, what are the hours you have, and since the venue is described, that then the musicians see, okay, this is all descriptive. Okay, you have a stage, or there's no stage, or whatever with it is. And once you fill the form out, then and say, okay, I'm looking for somebody to play rock and roll on Saturday and Sunday between 6 and 9, for my lobby. So maybe it's activities that you have, you want to capture is. So then the system goes through it and will send you only the people that qualify for that criteria that you have set in, including the price. So up front already if that's the price you want to pay, that's only the musicians and entertainers we will showcase to you. So you don't waste your time on things that don't apply. And you go through, you make your selection, and then from our end, we'll make sure that all the paperwork is done that relates to taxation, that relates to the payment of it is. So all that you have to deal with is really once you indicate for this musician to be whatever there, this is the location and this is the person you're looking for, right? So if you have Mr. Smith he is looking for, the person will come look for Mr. Smith. They know already where the setup is because they have seen that on your site because you have described it. So it's not like, oh, where am I need to go? They already know. I need to go to the lobby bar, and this is the setup, and there is no stage. And so they know this, so they know what the space they have. And then all you do is you get, ultimately at the end of the event, we do our billing to you, and then you pay us. So you have really no interaction outside of meeting the entertainer. So you don't have no other liabilities, you have no other parts of it. You're welcome to speak to them and whatever you want to do, but you don't need to, right? So it's a clear delineation and we are the ones responsible to make sure that they show up. So so that's the way part of it again, so that if you had a calendar coming up for the festive season or whatever, and you want to have something going on or there's some other activities, you could book them all out basically in one setting or two, depending on how quickly you want to make the decision, and then they're all coming up. And then the part on top of that is that if you want us, we would then promote that event also through social media. So again, you don't need to do that yourself. You're welcome to do that, but if you said, I don't have sales and marketing folks, I don't have an extra person that does food and beverage entertainment for me or whatever, whether it is, we'll do that also for you. So we promote the venue, we promote the event.
That's fantastic.
So it's a really kind of a one-stop shop for you that has the entertainment needs. And then two, you don't sign any long-term contracts. So it's not like you sign me and now you have to use me forever. You can use me for this one event, and you're gonna be happy and satisfied, and then you keep booking again. But for whatever reason you did not like it, then there's nothing that is stuck between us.
You know, one thing that I used to hate when I had to find entertainment, it was dealing with these agents. In order to book an agent, you have to book a entertainment. You have to contact the agent, and the agent or the manager has to agree to it, and then the manager negotiates it and then takes it back to the artist, and the artist can say, I don't like it, and then the manager comes back to you after you done fully negotiated everything and say, yeah, it's going to be more money. They didn't like the number. I'm like, I gave you the number. What do you mean they didn't like the number? You liked the number. You agreed to the number. So that was one thing that I hated when I had to book entertainment. How do we cut out the middleman?
So in this, for us, it's very straightforward. So once you have selected the pay range that you say that this is what you're looking for whatever the event is, whether it's 3 hours lobby bar, or whether it's 2 hours at the pool, or whether it's a wedding, or whatever the event you have is, then that's the amount we have out there. Only entertainers that want to work for this amount will be presented to you, so you're very clear on that. Both sides know that's what the pay is. So if it's $500 for argument's sake, then that's what the amount is. And then for our side, it's a 9% commission. So you know this up front. So you know what you're gonna pay. There's no issue with it. There's no renegotiation. There's no coming back, because both sides knew up front what the amounts they had agreed upon is.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, what are some of the other things that you believe that Creative Exchange have that you've seen like sob 100% that you just didn't have any other problems?
Well, it's really, if you think about whether it's yourself or you had somebody in your organization, is there was a lot of time involvement to first of all find who's out there, right?
Yeah.
So then you have to go look at it, talk to people, whatever it is, and then where are they playing right now?
Yeah.
Or can you get a tape and based on what you're looking for, what we find is people want some entertainment. We do a lot of with the wineries, again, just to create a nice atmosphere and make people kind of linger longer at their venues. And so this way you can do this all from your desk.
Beautiful.
And then you know ahead of time already that this is the pricing you want to pay, so you don't get somebody that is out of the price range and you spend time with it, and trying to negotiate the price down. No, this is what's coming. You get also musicians that play exactly the music type that you want, so there's no surprise later on that somebody, is not playing it. So we have, clients that maybe say, we want the person only to play cover songs. So we really just want that to be a nice setting, and just people to enjoy themselves. And this is the kind of the things we're looking for. Whether it's classic rock or whether it's top 40 or whatever you have in there is. And so this way, that's the musician that is coming will perform exactly on your requirements, and will not start playing his or own songs and whatever it is. And so this way,
I just recorded this yesterday.
Yeah. And so this way you won't have any surprises. And from the musician side, it's nice because they know that that's what they were looking for. Somebody is looking for, a different type of deal. You want some creativity in there. You want to have your own deal. Then that's great because again, you see that on the videos and the music that they have on their own site. When you look at Creative Exchange, you can see what they have submitted. So you can say, yeah, I like this, or I don't like this. And you say, oh, well, I like this very much. This is a little edgy for me. This is great. This is something different. And I think part depends also, that hotel type, the resort type, who's the customer, what's the timing of it. And the other part that we do, I think that helps, especially out in these days, is you might have a difficult time, finding staff, and part of it is, so you might have to stretch things out. So maybe you have a 150-seat restaurant, but you can't seat it full because you don't have the staffing. By having live entertainment, at your bar or at a venue, you can hold people on for the table to come available. And then again, you can use that because again, you don't have long-term commitment with us. you can test something out and say, well, let's test this and see whether we can make this work. And people suddenly find, wow, this is really working great because I was running it on a Friday, Saturday, and it worked fabulous. And so we see that there is a lot of interest in doing, those events by capturing people that may be already in-house. It allows you to run, some samples and say, hey, how can I maybe get some additional revenues for my restaurant? Is it by getting additional covers? Is it, by people maybe spending more time at the bar and waiting for the table is, rather than saying, no, I want to go outside or whatever, call me. I would rather stay in because there's music in there, there's entertainment. It feels great. And then for hotels, in the lobby bar setting, we find again that people might go out for dinner, especially if you go, Los Angeles and other cities where people have something planned. But with the music, there it holds people on and they have a nice drink, and then their friends who are going to take them out say, come on in, stick around for a while. And so you can tailor that and target that based on the audience. And so if you have a busy check-in maybe in the evening, maybe that's where you want to have it, so when people check in, rather than staying in their rooms, they come back down. And then there you gain your opportunity to generate additional revenues, and with that you generate additional profit because your staffing really is fixed at that stage.
What I love is that it's something that you can just try out to see if it works or not. If based on what you've seen in the past, bringing live entertainment into a venue, what has as far as revenue wise, what has some of the results been that you've seen?
So what we have seen is that because we have been doing it for a while with the wineries, is again more people come out. And maybe they thought was just to stop by, but now you're spending time there and it feels good. Okay, so you maybe tried the wine, but now is an opportunity maybe because you're there anyway. Let me take 2 bottles with me. Right?
Okay.
And so that's one part. The other one clearly is on the lobby bar. We see that again where people maybe would either just go to the room, or if they came down, maybe have one beverage. But this way, maybe it becomes the second one. And then 2, it doesn't require a lot because you have your staffing, the bartenders there, you have your waiters there. So really, it's whatever is the incremental cost of the drink is. And so if you had set your entertainment, let's say at $300, for the 2 hours, let's say that's what you wanted to spend, is the average drink price today is $14 or something like that, right? It doesn't require a lot of drinks, to make the money of the entertainment, and then everything extra falls to the bottom line. And then 2, from a customer side, I had a greater stay. And so if you think about where you're traveling to, what sets the hotels apart is part of this obviously is the experience that you're having and so if you had a great experience, checking in and there was live entertainment there and it felt great, you feel like, wow, I picked the right hotel. I really get more enjoyment out of it. And then when you come back again, that's the venue, or you recommend it to your friends, or people come and then join you there because there's something happening at that hotel versus just
a room at another.
Or just piped in music or whatever. Yeah. So this way you have a little interaction with it, and I think partly also because of the pandemic and people not being able to go out, there is a bigger demand and interest for people to have something else happening and not just sit somewhere or just consume something. And 2, I think it lands along the veins to where you now have all these great non-alcoholic cocktails because you have been able to get really great products that really taste like the real thing without having the alcohol in it.
Yeah.
And so it works nicely with that and so it's not just somebody sitting there and having a $2 Coke or something like that, but you have a great virgin daiquiri and a great virgin gin and tonic, but without the alcohol.
I seen Heineken has a 0 alcohol drink right now.
So there's just, there's a lot more, not from our side, but, from the alcohol side, from the drinks that are being made, the flavors that they've been able to create without the alcohol. And I think, again, that's to as another trend out there. But it works well with us that you don't have to worry about that people will say, oh, they're just going to sit here and have a bottle of water. And so
Yeah.
if you have the right offerings, even on your non-alcoholic side, they can be profit centers for you and ultimately add to the experience. Because that's really what we're looking for: is how do we add to the experience? How do we have people have a greater enjoyment, a better experience, and ultimately, that's kind of what people think for when they're coming back. All things being equal, it's how was my experience, and if I can add to a customer's experience by having live entertainment there and making it a little different and making it distinct, and then too, based on the hotel, you can really have your authenticity shine through what it is. And so if you look at some of the hotels, a lot of them, might had a background back in the 50s where their live entertainment was there, or either bands stayed there, or famous musicians, would stay at the hotel. So again, you kind of tie that back in, and again work on that, what it is. But it's not a requirement. But again, it's another opportunity to do this, and you don't have any long-term commitments. You can try it out, but we find that people like it, and you can modify it from one week to the next. So again, you're not stuck with this. So if you want to try an entertainer this week for classic rock, on next one you want more pop, and that's what you have. And again, you do this all from your desk without running over town or interviewing a lot of places and worrying whether people bring in all their tax papers in, and then ultimately we give you the invoice. You can pay by credit card.
You can pay by credit card.
Credit card again, so this makes it easy for you. Whether we have a lot of companies that have their corporate credit cards and they like to use that, and don't have accounting departments necessarily maybe on site. So again, that allows you to do this, and it makes it really seamless. So that's kind of where we are.
That is fantastic. Hotels that I stayed at that had live entertainment had I enjoyed much more than just a regular hotel that just had a room. Because there's just something to do. It's something about live music. Even if it's just the DJ, something about a live band, live music that just brings the best out of people, and they just enjoy the experience so much more. So this is something that pretty much any hotel with a little space, and it doesn't have to be indoors. Like, it can be.
Yeah, you don't need a stage.
Yeah, you can set it up outside.
Yeah, and you can
park a lot and.
Well, again, wherever you think your customers, are and where it would work the best for you.
Yeah.
So that's when you can set this up on screen. So if you have 3 venues and maybe one you use more often than the other, you set it up. And I think, as you said, it is that it creates another dimension to the experience. So rather than just, sitting there, and maybe some places, want to do it for a big check-in, because you're going to be busy and people might have to stand in line, whatever it is, and this is another way to overcome the time that it takes. So again, there's something else that is engaging the customer, and by being engaged with that, time flies.
For sure. Well, how can everybody get in touch with you?
Easiest way is on the website, is www.creative.xchange. And otherwise too is I obviously have my local number here in Orlando. So, but the website is the best way to go. And I don't know whether you post something on the back, but we can certainly give you more information on my email address and so forth.
All right, fantastic. Well, listen, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I've learned a lot, that's for sure. And things have changed, and we just gotta keep up with the times. Like, things are changing so fast. There's so much new technology out there that save us money and save us time. And it's hard for us in the hotel industry to keep up with all the changes, which is why I wanted to have you guys on the show today, because I gotta let everybody know, hey, there's a better way. If there's a better way, then we
give it a try.
Yeah, we need to do it.
Give it a try.
And then we can save money and time. That's the most important thing, is saving money and time, because we know we don't have a whole lot.
Well, time is the
time is number
limitation.
one for sure. So, but thank you for joining us and tuning into another episode of the Hotel Insider. And this is Bruce Jordan signing out.